Thank you, Kola. That was amazing. I think a lot of what I'm going to talk about tonight has already been talked about because there just seems to be a general theme for community building. I'm going to start my slides. So 3 years ago, I was sitting behind a desk filing papers and answering the phone in a boring office job. Late last year, I started an event series to showcase some of New Zealand's most amazing technology and founders. My name's Elyse, and I'm going to talk to you about building a community you know nothing about. For as long as I can remember, I've been interested in things. It doesn't really matter what they are, I just collect a lot of things. This also means that I really love diverse people. It doesn't really matter if you're a stripper or a scientist, I probably would like to talk to you. This love of diverse people and diverse things led me to the path of marketing in tech companies and startups. Over the years, I've met a lot of really amazing people, and a couple of things have really stood out to me. One of them is that really brilliant people, especially technical people, find it really hard to make new friends. Another one is that despite New Zealand's size, we're actually not very well connected. So late one night, I had an idea. What if I could bring together some of New Zealand's smartest minds and at the same time celebrate their success? So that's when Hardware Meetup AKL was born. So it's a really, really young community. We've only had 3 events so far, but we have been completely maxing capacity, attracting some of New Zealand's most amazing products and people. The exact target audience is turning up, which is engineers, product developers, and hardware entrepreneurs. We've had really, really great feedback, and I'm trying really hard with the diversity thing, so we've definitely got a lot of technical women there as well. And the good thing is that we can really use this as a platform to celebrate stuff that's environmentally changing the game as well. So a few of the companies and founders we've showcased so far are electric farm bikes, meat made from pea protein, beehive sensors, autonomous robotic farm vehicles, wearable sensors, imaging solutions, robotic sailboats, and underwater drones, and that's just a few of them. We've also got 8 more events this year with a really, really diverse set of themes. So I reckon that you should start a community, which is probably what a lot of people are saying tonight. And I'm going to share with you my tips for starting a community you know nothing about, because I'm not actually an engineer. So, number 1 is decide why you want to build the community. I think that at the forefront of starting a community should be providing value and also bringing people together to create awesome things. And also don't expect fame and glory. Well, you can expect fame and glory eventually, but it shouldn't be the driving force for creating a community. What you've heard a lot of tonight is actually probably finding that niche, because it's really, really hard to make a big impact if you go all out straight away. So find that passionate community that are really deeply passionate about a particular problem. Then another one, again, is validate what you want to achieve. So what does your community actually want, and how can you create value? Make sure you test your assumptions with your target audience. When it comes to the kickoff, do a kick-ass job. So make sure you do a really great thing at your first event, and make sure you can keep replicating it. Focus on what people care about and deliver a few things really well. You don't have to do everything, but what you do it well. Don't be afraid to personally reach out to people that you want as part of your community. And when you reach out to them, make sure that you talk about the benefits to them. If people don't actually want to come, also find out why. Don't be afraid to ask people for money for your community. If you're providing real value, they should be paying for it. And at the same time, make sure your sponsors provide real value for your community. People will want to help you if you're creating real value. So it should be easy for you to attract people if you're doing something awesome. Just make sure you give them a trial run before you say yes to make sure they fit into the team. I'm really lucky with the Hardware Meetup. I've actually managed to attract 3 female engineers and a product development expert to help me. So it's really, I'm very happy with that. And having a community means you can champion doing the right thing. We have a lot of power because we're bringing people together, so we should be really pushing towards what's good in the world. Make sure your community is a safe space. So something I've been really slow to do is create a code of conduct, and if I was starting it again, I would have created it right off the bat. But it's definitely something you should do straight away to keep everyone safe, and there's some really good examples out there of codes of conduct. And also work really hard on diversity. I think one of the things that makes life so good is the fact that there are so many great different points of view, and that comes from all ranges of people. And don't bite off more than you can chew. Make sure you actually have enough time for what you're doing, because if you can't, you'll end up letting the community down. I only have enough time to work on my community after work and on weekends, but luckily I just really love it. Another one is don't fold to sponsors. So something in the community I see sometimes is when they get money, they end up kind of pandering to sponsors' needs. And just make sure from the beginning that you're really clear on what that sponsorship money entails, because you can actually degrade the value that you're providing to your community if you just do whatever the sponsor says. Luckily, I've got amazing sponsors that are just great. And remember, don't give up. Even if you know nothing about your community, you will. And people who don't matter will tell you that you shouldn't be doing it, but just don't listen to them, and don't forget that it's natural to be scared. I think that more people should start communities because you just can create such an amazing difference. And if you're interested, our next event is actually aerospace, and we've got an amazing lineup of companies speaking. And if you had told me a couple of years ago that I would have had Rocket Lab talking at my event, I wouldn't have believed you. So if I can do it, so can you. Thank you.